This past weekend, I went to an art show that was a real dud. I haven't had anything this slow in forever. And I was just trying to figure things out, why it turned out so slow for me and why I had so few sales. I really didn't think this one through too much because I signed up for it to fill the gap in time between the Winter Farmers Market and my summer shows. And it was inexpensive and it was one day, and I thought, why not? I could go down there, maybe make a few bucks, maybe meet some people, just get my art out there in the world. But your thinking ahead of time is really important, because when you're actually there and the show is slow, you're just kicking yourself because the day is endless and you're so tired and you just want it to be over. You're looking around all day at the other vendors and they're rolling their eyes and bored out of their minds. So you want to avoid having situations like this. Let's talk about some of the reasons a show might be slow so you can avoid that. Usually it's the wrong audience that you're getting. You're in the wrong location, not a good venue, it's the wrong time of year and people aren't in the mood for buying. It can be the wrong type of show. It could be a craft show versus a fine art show. It could be the economy. It could be something that's not specifically for selling art, so you're not going to attract art buyers. And if you're not attracting art buyers, you're going to get people who don't know very much about art at all. I'll give you an example of something that happened. If you take a look at the display panel in the middle, you can see 4 little pieces that are floral, and one is missing. There's an empty hook there. That's the one I did sell. Before I sold that one, I had someone come up and ask about the pair that are below the empty hook. She wanted to know about whether I had a print of that one, and it's only an 8x8, and it was very inexpensive. The price I was selling it for was only $10 more than a print would have been. I don't make prints of small paintings because it's really hard to get a good reproduction when you want to blow it up into a bigger size. And I told her that. And I told her that the original is only $10 more than the prints. And I didn't have a print of that one. She looked around for a while, but she ended up leaving without buying anything. It was the end of the day, and my brain probably wasn't working all that well. But later it occurred to me that maybe she didn't know the difference between an original and a print. So I might have lost the sale because of that. You can't assume that people are going to know that an original is more valuable than a print. But then I thought about it, and since the venue is not a fine art show and it's not in a very affluent area, you're going to get a different kind of clientele than you would at a fine art show. And it's very possible that she just didn't understand. So that's something I will have to be aware of in the future if I ever go back to some kind of show like this. I am not planning on going back to this one, but I think the reasons included the economy, the price of gas, and the fact that this audience is really not very knowledgeable about art and probably can't afford to buy art. For this show, I did bring quite a few big pieces, and I kept my prices down, but I also brought small pieces, and there was still not very much interest in anything but cards, and those were the lowest priced item. There were a lot of older people at this show, so that makes sense too. The point is, you really have to think about who's going to be at the show and what they're going to want. Hi, I'm about halfway through the day at the Foothills Art Mart, or whatever you call this thing, the art market. It's been really slow. I've had some small sales. I sold 2 small paintings, but they were very small ones. And, I'm just not sure. It was busy for a while before lunchtime, then it was just dead during lunchtime, and now it's slow again. So So I don't know what's going to happen. It's 1:30. Hopefully we'll get some more business here. A lot of people like the stuff, but it's not selling. It's more of a hi. It is fun as far as people watching, and you never know what, I always have fun conversations with people. But it's really, really slow, and it's definitely not a fine art market. But I have about 6 weeks till my first one, and we'll just see. If I could just sell one decent-sized painting, that would take care of everything, but I just don't think that's going to happen today. I brought all kinds of different sizes. You can see the entrance over there. It's really, really quiet. I've had a lot of people who really liked the paintings, especially the big ones on the other side. And I'm really surprised none of the prints have sold today. I've sold some cards, and I sold those 2 little paintings, but that's it. By the end of the day, I did sell 1 small new painting, and I made enough money to cover the booth fee and my U-Haul, but not my gas. It wasn't a total disaster. Just watching people. There are a lot of older people here, and that's one reason that this is not a big art venue. And I've got there's a lot of, right next to me is someone with jewelry, and then I've got candy across from me, and some photographers, somebody selling soap. There's a guy selling wooden cutting boards. Hi. I've given away my card. I've given away quite a few cards, but that really pans out. What else? I don't know what else to say. I'll shut this down for now. When it was all over, I had to break everything down and pack it into the U-Haul and drive back to Fort Collins, so I didn't get home until 7:30. That was a long day, getting up at 4 and driving down there and setting up, and then an 8-hour show. Most shows are not that long in one day. But it was something to do, got me out of the house, and the good thing is that I was able to back the U-Haul straight into the driveway when I got home, which is not an easy task, and I'm very proud of it. See you in the next one.